Peace, family. This video right here is about spirit baths and the science of water. Now, with that being said, we have to understand that water is considered, we want to know what water is before we even go into spirit baths. Now, with that being said, water in science is considered the spirit molecule or the intelligent molecule. Why? Because water itself is intelligent. It holds intelligence. It holds memory. This is a fact. Water actually remembers. You could actually speak, okay, to water and change the frequency of the water. Now, with that being said, water, as well as all anatomic phenomena, responds to sound in octaves, okay? Your vocal cords, okay? Your Adam's apple, the reason you speak out your Adam's apple is not Adam as in A-D-A-M, it's really Adam as in A-T-O-M. Your Adam's apple, your vocal cords, right, actually reconstruct the symmetrical formation of atoms to revibrate reality in conjunction with the megahertz frequency of your brain. So the reason they even call this your Adam's apple and use your vocal cords, just like you use chords on a guitar, okay, or chords on an instrument, you use your vocal cords and your Adam's apple, right, to reconstruct reality to your own internal frequency every time you speak. This is why people say you're speaking things into existence. So when you speak to water, water holds that frequency. This is a fact. So with that being said, water is an intelligent molecule. Your body is made up of 85% water. Your brain itself is 85% just water. This is why, whatchamacallit, it is where your pineal gland is located, and it's the head, aka the central nervous system of all the neurons in your body, right? Because it's what? Water is the #1 conductor of electricity. Your brain helps to interface with every component within your body. So with that being said, we have to understand the science of water before we even get to talking about it. And secondarily, when we want to talk about water, water is the physical manifestation. Once again, why it's called the spirit molecule. It's the physical manifestation of the spirit world. Now, anybody who knows, minute chemistry, that water is what? Oxygen combined with 2 hydrogen molecules. So with that being said, this is why you see the 2 in between the H and the O. So that being said, if you know anything about science, oxygen and hydrogen are both gases. If you know anything about chemistry, oxygen and hydrogen are both gases. So now you have to ask yourself, how can 2 gases, right, form a solid, which is water? Okay? Think about that. So water technically is not physical. Even though you can feel it, you bathe with it, it's wet, you can boil it, burn somebody with it, it's all just a gas. So you're manipulating an intangible object into a tangible object, which is utilized for so many different purposes. But with that being said, the reason it's called the spirit molecule is because it represents reality. It is a formless void of whatever it is you mentally concoct and vibrate it to be. So water can be hot and be used to boil. A person can become hot and or risen in their temperature. Remember, temperature comes from the Latin word temporare, which means state of being. Depending upon your internal stating being, right? Your temperature, temporary state of being, depending upon your temper or the temperature outside, determines the state of being and the quality of existence of your reality. And that, within conjunction with your own ideology or psychological perspective on life, will determine what form you take. Information, inner form, same thing with water. Depending upon the degree or temperature it is, will determine if it boils and goes back into a gas form, if it stays a liquid, which is formless, if it becomes solid to where it can become destroyed. Now remember, anything that flows, any energy that flows or is formless, right, can take any shape or form. Once water becomes a solid, it can no longer become form. So the solidified form of water can be symbolic to somebody stuck in their ego, or somebody who think they know what they talking about and they don't, or just all of these people with these incorrect mentalities, right? They've went below the degrees in which they should be at. So with that being said, before we even go into spirit baths, we want to break down the science of water, and that's a quick understanding of water. Water is symbolic to reality. Just like we are experiencing a holographic reality within this avatar that we call a human body, none of this is actually tangible. We experience virtual bioreality through the 5 physical senses. You experience water, which is actually a gas, determined upon the degree that it is being placed under. So that being said, water is intelligent and it is symbolic to life. How is it symbolic to life? Because it's actually the form that you choose for it to take and the frequency that you choose to place within it, whether positive or negative. Now we're talking about spirit baths. Water is important because it bonds with you. And this is why your skin shrivels up and prunes when you're in water. Because the water molecule is actually bonding with the water molecules within you. And it's causing the blood vessels within your body to constrict due to over oxygen absorption. So that being said, your blood vessels begin to become constricted and your skin begins to prune up. And this is why dead bodies and things like that decompose in water. Or this is why during floods, you can see houses or wood becoming decomposed in water. This is why water can break down damn near anything, just like acid, because it's actually bonding with it, because everything is made up of everything is actually made up of water. So with that being said, we have to understand the true science of reality. Now with that being said, we want to go into baths. Not only is water bonding with you, when you're taking a spirit bath just means you are conscious to the spiritual capacities within the water that you're using to, I don't want to say manipulate, let's say regulate and control for how it is you want to elevate your internal frequency. So when we say a spirit bath, right, when you look at movies or you look at ancient civilizations and you study the way they took a bath, they didn't take baths the way niggas take baths today. So that being said, they didn't just heat water up and get in it. All right, and we've been, if you notice, a lot of people have been stepping their game up. They've been putting bath salts and things like that in their bath, but it goes a little step further. Each crystal, as I broke down in my lecture, Spirit Science, which you can watch at my website, youngpharaoh.net. Each crystal, and as well as food, as I broke down in my lecture, Spirit Diet. Every fruit, like the way the ancestors knew how to manage themselves, is because the sun has what is known as the electromagnetic spectrum, which is, it has stages of colors. Now, everything created within a certain color spectrum has certain laws and principalities that it adheres to. So, for example, right, your digestive tract or your stomach chakra is the color yellow, right? And this is associated with things such as banana peppers, which are also yellow. And we know that when you're having digestive problems, if you eat banana peppers, which are yellow, this helps to move the bowel process along with, as well as other processes within your stomach, aka your digestive tract. So we can see that the stomach chakra, aka the digestive tract, which is yellow, is cleansed and associated with other fruits and vegetables, such as banana peppers, which are yellow, and they go hand in hand together as far as the synchronizational process. So we understand, how did our ancestors know which herbs and berries and things like that to pick to help certain parts of their body? Is because everything was understood and associated by color. And this can be studied in a branch of science known as colorology. Go look it up. It's an actual branch of science. Now with that being said, same thing with crystals. The color of a crystal will tell you the function, the part of the body that it positively or negatively functions with. For example, amethyst crystals. Everybody loves amethyst crystals. They're purple. It's no coincidence that it goes hand in hand with your third eye, your pineal gland, which is your sixth chakra, which is also purple. So with that being said, each crystal has an energetic function or a biofrequency function for a certain part of your biofield. Now, when you take these frequencies, right, and you understand them, and you understand the science of biotuning, and you encompass this, and you magnify all of this understanding, and you let's say integrate it with water, now you're dealing with spiritual bathing. So that being said, certain flowers, as I already broke down, release certain gases, aka pheromones, that induce certain psychological effects in the brain. This is why you see people put rose petals in their bath. But there's all kind of different plants and herbs and flowers that you can put in your bath. Too many for me to get specific on, to induce certain psychological effects. So, for example, before we break down the spirit bath and the science, let's just break down if we was making one up. Let's say if you was taking a bath and you needed to be happy, right? What you would do is you would find some flowers and some herbs, right, that are still living, of course, because they have to be given off the scent, right? And you would break down the science of this. You would go get the specific plant that holds the information that you need, such as pheromones that give off positive, joyful energy, and you will put them in your bath, right? And then we know that love and happiness is associated with the heart chakra. So you will go get certain crystals that are associated with the heart chakra, and you will put them in your bath. And then you will go get certain salts that are associated with what it is, with the end effect that you're trying to achieve, and you will put them in your bath, right? And then you will play, if not certain music, you will play a biotune. For example, the heart rate frequency for love is 528 megahertz, so you could play a frequency like that, and that will put you in the state of consciousness or the state of being that you're trying to be in. So with that being said, once you put all of these into the water, what you have to understand is, right, your biofield is what? Your electromagnetic field. Your electromagnetic field begins to stimulate the frequency of the water, as well as everything within the water is stimulating that frequency, and then those molecules begin to bond with you, because water is intelligent, and your body is also made up of 85% water, don't forget. So now everything you just put in that water now begins to bond with you and elevate your frequency to that state of being for the specific time period that you're in the water. So when we're talking about spirit bathing is nothing more than using the natural state of existence of all things to determine a certain frequency that we want to go to creating that realm within the tub or with that whatever contraption you're holding the water in, and then submerging yourself into that frequency. And you see them tap into or show y'all this science a little bit in the movie Constantine, where he had to jump in the water to go to different realms. All they was telling you was that water was changing its frequency. And you seen them when they did the occultic execution on Whitney Houston and her daughter. They put them both in the tub, okay? Because they was showing you that they was changing their frequency. So that being said, there's books on spirit bathing. There's all kind of sciences out there on spirit bathing. I have a book myself on spirit bathing that you can go get, and they'll actually show you how much, the ingredients and what amount to put this, that, and the third in, and you can start taking you some spiritual baths. So with that being said, we are extraordinary deities, and we have to start once again living extraordinarily. It's not about being uppity. It's not about thinking you too good. It's about understanding the science of intelligence and then executing it. Knowledge is to know. Wisdom is to exercise what you know. If you know how to build a car and you never build one, you's an unwise ass nigga. You's an unwise mechanic. So with that being said, if we keep saying we built pyramids and we was intelligent and we was gods, nigga, then we need to start exercising our intelligence to go back to that. And one of the main reasons that we don't is because of peer pressure. So with that being said, family, everybody needs to override the fuckery and start doing extraordinary things, because that will make you an extraordinary being. So with that being said, when we coming back to spirit baths, understand that your frequency is controlled by you at all times. So I just dropped the PAU, Fairlight University, on heart rate frequency, right? That's controlling your respiratory system in order to control how you respond and react to phenomena that's outside your immediate control physically. But when we're talking about controlling your frequency at all times, outside of just being in control of your breath, you can also be in control of how you cleanse your body. So taking a bath is not just about getting dirt from yourself externally, it's about getting dirt from yourself internally. And certain negative emotions only exist at certain frequencies. So with that being said, you bond and absorb with water molecules. Water molecules are intelligent. So what you do is you actually concoct the water to the frequency that you want to go, and then you go there. This is why people naturally now, we was already on the way, family, but we didn't know why. It was it was just like when your friends die in a hug and you pour some liquor out. You don't know that that's actually an African tradition that people do in Africa, where they pour out certain waters and certain alkaline waters and certain fruits for their ancestors. It's something that's subconsciously in your DNA. And you see black women now, when they get in the bath, what they do, they light some candles, they put their petals in there, they put their music on, they put their little towel or whatever over their eyes, and they become submerged and they go, whether they're in meditation or they just relaxing. The intelligence is coming out of your DNA. Remember, when you're a genius is what? Somebody who can pull information out of their genes at an accelerated pace opposed to another organism. So that's actually a subconscious genius trait that we already tapping into. Now we just understand the science of it. So with that being said, family, understand the science of what a spirit bath is and how important it is to actually take a spiritual bath. A bath that not only cleanses your body, but raises your frequency. And once you understand this science, now you personally can understand what is wrong with you and start creating baths the same way you create food. Everybody don't cook different. Everybody don't cook the same. Everybody shouldn't be bathing the same either. Everybody don't got the same goddamn problem. So with that being said, the importance of being an individual should be magnified greatly, because it will determine how you contribute to the whole. And one of the ways that you can upgrade how you live as an individual on this planet is simply elevating the way that you bathe. And with that being said, family, I love y'all. Peace.